The gallbladder meridian, I love this phrase for it, can be seen as the body's janitor, the body's cleaner. So the gallbladder is responsibility, it works with the liver, and the liver produces bile, and it then puts it into the gallbladder, and the gallbladder is like this little storage sac that holds on to the bile. And then when we are digesting our fats, when it goes through into the small intestine, the gallbladder's job is to squirt the bile onto the fats to be able to digest it. So it's on the right-hand side next door to the liver. And it's one of those, from the traditional medical opinion, is that our gallbladder, we don't necessarily need it. However, it does play an important role in supporting the liver function, and the liver does just so many jobs and needs all the support it can get. And it also, this bile release, the correct bile release from the gallbladder, will create a healthy microbiome and will also help us process our fats. And if we're able to digest our fats, then we're able to produce cholesterol. If we can produce cholesterol, then we can have healthy hormones. So yes, I understand that you can absolutely live without your gallbladder, but it plays this real backstage important function in the body. So from a kinesiology perspective, the gallbladder has two muscles that are connected into the gallbladder meridian, and that is the anterior deltoid, which is there and there in the arm, and it's that muscle test. And it's also the popliteus muscle on the back of the knee. So the common imbalances that we see with a gallbladder meridian imbalance is upper abdominal pain after eating, especially if it's fats, and especially if it's on the right-hand side. Nausea, bloating, indigestion, diarrhea after meals, stools tend to become light-coloured or chalky, or there is actual gallstones that have developed. So how do we, as functional kinesiologists, balance the gallbladder meridian? Well, we use the Bs, which is the biochemical, emotional, electrical, and structural. And this is what is so great about being a kinesiologist, is we're able to use this vast toolkit to be able to bring the body into balance. So from a biochemical perspective, we would be looking at food intolerance for the gallbladder. So there is mounting scientific research showing that wheat and gluten are contributing to gallbladder inflammation and disease. So cutting wheat and gluten out of the diet with someone with a gallbladder imbalance can often be very beneficial. So we also look at balancing the macronutrients, because we look at blood sugar balancing. The more blood sugar balancing we have, the happier the liver is. And if the liver's happy, then the gallbladder, because they work so closely together. There is something called the Gallbladder Flush program for people who are quite brave, because it can be quite an experience. But there is little scientific study that proves that it is an effective way of clearing gallstones from the gallbladder, and it is something that we would recommend to get the guidance of a health practitioner if you are deciding that that is what you want to do. Muscle testing for supplements for the gallbladder, we would be looking at an omega-3. We'd also be looking at a digestive aid. So this is either an enzyme or an acid or a combination. And we like to look for supplement combinations that include lipase to help process those fats, or contain bile salts. Fat-soluble vitamins, including vitamin A, vitamin D, and vitamin E, are very supportive for the liver and the gallbladder. Magnesium, which just comes up time and time again in our work, can be helpful for the gallbladder to empty, and it can also ease any spasms or pain that might be going on with the gallbladder. And there is this connection with the magnesium deficiency and the increase of gallstones. We work with herbs, and herbs such as milk thistle, for example, is one that we would potentially look at for liver and gallbladder. From an emotional perspective, we work with the traditional Chinese medicine, the 5-element theory, and the gallbladder sits in the wood element with the liver. And the emotion is anger and resentment, frustration, irritability, bitterness, or flying off the handle. And the way that we work with this, it's a big part of our practitioner training, is the holding space module, where we support our practitioners to support their clients to be able to find a healthy expression of anger. So anger is absolutely a necessary part of being human. It's not something that is best avoided because it will just eke out the sides. So we teach how to have a healthy expression of anger. So this is not at people, but this is finding a way of moving this energy. Anger is such a powerful emotion. And so when we are able to clear it, because anger plays such a role with passion, so the more that we're able to be in a healthy relationship with anger, the more passionate we can be in our work, in our life, in our relationships. So it is such an important emotion to explore. And we see that if we start avoiding emotions, then the body and the mind, it can't just self-select, I'm going to avoid anger. Then we start avoiding things like passion and joy, and then we become very numb. So we really support our practitioners and our clients to find a healthy expression of anger. From an electrical perspective, the gallbladder meridian's best time is 1 to 3 a.m. in the nighttime, and those with an imbalance will often wake up at this time. The gallbladder meridian, it starts here on the outside, and the way that I remember this in my revision is there's a little baby loop, there's a medium loop, and then there's a large loop. So the beginning of the gallbladder meridian is so around the head, and then it loops all the way down the seam of the body to the fourth toe. But this is why headaches can be so commonly associated with the gallbladder meridian, because of where the meridian goes around the head 3 times. Structural balancing, because the muscle is here in the arm and connecting into the chest, and it's also behind the knees. So we would see painful shoulders or a compromised walking gait or stiff calf muscles because of that, the back of the knee muscle for the popliteus. And to balance this, we will be looking at massaging the neurolymphatic points, which are on the chest. How does the gallbladder fit into the triangle of hormonal health, which is a core part of functional kinesiology and the way that we work? So it's very much seen as a victim. So if like the liver sits at the heart of the triangle of hormonal health. And so if the liver is struggling to process the hormones in blood sugars and the hormones in the stress endocrine, and is struggling to deal with sex hormones, if the liver is overwhelmed, then it really has this knock-on effect to the gallbladder. So we really do see that the gallbladder is, like I said, it's one of those backstage support to make the show run, and so it is an important player. So that is the gallbladder meridian as part of kinesiology.